Hi guys, what if I told you that there was a savings avenue, a bond that you could get that's guaranteed by the government? Uh, and right now it's currently paying over 7%. In fact, it's paying 7.12% annually. Would you believe me? Well, guess what? There is. It's called an I bond. This is through the Treasury. The only way you can buy them is through Treasury Direct. You used to be able to buy them at banks. Remember, your grandma used to give you the savings bond? Those were the Series EE bonds. These are a little different. I bond stands for inflationary bond. So we're going to go into treasurydirect.gov and we're going to take a look at their website. And we're going to talk about Series I savings bonds. Remember, the I stands for inflationary. So as inflation goes up, these adjust every 6 months the rate that they pay to protect against inflation. And currently, because we're in such a high inflationary period, they are paying for the next 6 months 7.12%. So let's talk about, first of all, what is an I bond? A Series I savings bond is a security that earns interest based on both a fixed rate and a rate that is set twice a year based on inflation. The bond earns interest until it reaches 30 years or you cash it in, whichever comes first. Now, one thing to know really quickly on this, you guys, is they do have a 1 year holding period where you cannot cash it in. So if you're going to need this money in 6 months, this isn't something you can do. Have to have it at least 1 year. We're going to talk about what happens if you take it before. What's the interest rate on the I bond you sell today? For the first 6 months you own it, the Series I bond we sell from November 2021 through April of 22 earns an interest rate at an annual rate of 7.12%. A new rate will be set every 6 months based on this bond's fixed rate. Now, remember we talked about the two parts, the fixed rate and the inflationary rate. Right now, the fixed rate is 0. So there is no fixed rate. I do have a couple of these. Guys, I have about $8,000 worth of these that I've been holding as part of my second tier to my emergency fund that do have a fixed rate of like 0.2%. And I have one that's 0.1%, I think. But right now it's 0 on the fixed. But the inflationary rate changes every 6 months. And we'll take a look at that quickly. Who may own an I bond? Well, you have to have a social security number. And so if you're a citizen, if you're a United States resident, or you're a civilian employee of the United States, no matter where you live, you can own I bonds. You can also buy them for children under 18, but you have to hold them in a trust through Treasury Direct because they are under 18. So how do you buy them? First of all, there's two options. The most common is the electronic form. And they have a $10,000 limit annually per social security number, and you buy those online through treasurydirect.gov. Basically, you're going to log in, you're going to link a bank account to it. Once you do that, you can even buy with direct deposit if you want. You can set up a recurring deposit to buy them if you like. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. They also have a way that you can buy the paper form. They don't sell the paper form anymore. The only way you can do it is using your federal income tax refund, and that has a limit of $5,000 annually. What determines who owns an I bond and who can cash it? At purchase, how you register the bond at purchase determines who owns the bond and who can cash it. The registration is the name of the owner or the person or entity, the tax associated with the taxpayer identification number. So basically, it's on your social security number. Now, you can have a second named owner or a beneficiary placed on that. What do bonds cost? Well, you pay the face value of the bond. For example, you can pay $50 for a $50 bond, right? The bond increases in value as it earns interest. Electronic I bonds come in any amount to the penny from $25 up. For example, you could buy a bond for $50.23 if you wanted. Paper bonds are sold in 5 denominations: 50, 100, 200, 500, and 1,000. So if you're doing that with a tax refund, you have to hit it so it could be 1,250, for example. How much in I bonds can I buy for myself? As we said, up to $10,000 per social security number in electronic I bonds through the Treasury Direct, and up to $5,000 on paper I bonds using your Social Security number, or sorry, your income tax refund. The limits of price apply separately, meaning you could acquire up to 15,000 I bonds in a calendar year. Bonds you buy for yourself and bonds you receive as gifts or via transfer count towards the limit. There are two exceptions, however. If a bond is transferred to you due to a death of the original owner, the amount doesn't count towards your limit. If you own a paper bond issued before 2008, you can convert it to an electronic bond in your account. That wouldn't count as your limit either because it was a conversion rather than a new bond. Can I buy I bonds as gifts? Yes. Electronic bonds you can buy as gifts for any Treasury Direct account holder, including children. Paper bonds, you can request bonds in the names of others, and then once the bonds are mailed to you, give the bonds as gifts. Because remember, like the ones your grandma used to give you, is the paper bond that has your name on it and how much it's worth. Well, let's talk about this. I'm not sure where it is on here, but as I said, so when you buy this bond, for the first year, you can't do anything with it. You have to leave it there. You can't take it out. After 1 year, you could take it out. Now, here's the thing. If you decide to withdraw the money out before 5 years, you're going to give up the last 3 months of interest. Now, the way this works is, I told you every 6 months it changes the interest rate. After 6 months, the amount of interest that you accrued in that 6 months gets put on the principal of the bond. And so what that looks like basically, so looking at mine here, you guys, you can see the different dates. Issue date, some in 2019, one in 2018, a couple in 2014. Now you notice there are different interest rates. These must not have gotten to the point where it switches up. But this is the annual rate. Remember, it's actually showing the annual rate, but it's 6 months. So really, it's only half of that. But you can see this one's been here since 2014, and it's a $1,000 bond that's worth $1,160.80. Here's another one, just a little bit newer, that's actually ahead of that one. So this one probably has a fixed rate associated with it. Now, I without clicking on these, I don't remember, and I'm not going to go through that. But you can see that the interest rate on some of these is actually higher than the 7.12 because some of them have a fixed rate associated with it. Now, remember, the actual route you're getting for 6 months will be half. So if it's showing 7.64, it would really be 3.82-ish for the 6 months that we're shown, for the 6 months that it's being used. So I would if I did cash out before that 5-year period, I would give up the last 3 months of interest. That's just the way it works. Now, the beautiful thing about these, you guys, is they are tax deferred, meaning you're not paying tax on the interest being paid until you cash it out. So you can control how long you want it to be tax deferred. Now, there are a couple things that that can help you with taxes. If you use this to pay for education, let's say you put these away, and when you go to cash in, you decide, hey, I'm going to use this to pay for my child's college fund or whatever, or part of it. If you use it for education, it's actually tax-free. They don't charge you the tax on that. Now, thing to remember is these are generally state income tax free, but they are federally taxed as ordinary income because it is interest, right? So interest is taxed as ordinary income. The other thing to remember is these actually will accrue for up to 30 years. So if I bought one this year in 2022, I could actually keep it accruing interest until 2052, at which time I could either sell it or it would just quit accruing. But all the way up there, 30 years of interest could become a substantial amount. Now, one of the things they have here, they have a tool. Oh, well, maybe so. Let's look at, so let's go into tools. Let's see, we have here we go, the savings bond calculator. So I just wanted to give you an example here, you guys, of what this could actually be. So let's say, and this, I will say one thing. Their website's a little clunky, you guys. It's a government website. That's all I'm going to say. But let's say, okay, so let's say we have Series I bonds. So we're going to click into I, right? Let's say that we bought $1,000 and we bought it in, let's say we bought it in 2010, in January of 2010. So let's calculate. So that I bond would now have a value of $1,306.40. So in that 10-year period, you got, actually, I guess 12-year period now, you would have accrued $306 in interest, which is pretty substantial. So let's say, let's go a little, let's make it $5,000, and let's say we bought it in 2000. So now we're talking about 22 years of accrual. Now I'm going to remove this one. Oh. See what I mean? Little clunky. So let's go, let's say 5,000, and let's say it was in 2000. Okay? Let's calculate that. All right, so now we see our $5,000 bond has actually over tripled. The interest has, from that time frame, was $12,192. Now, you guys, I don't know what the rates were in 2000. I'm just showing an example of what it could be. And basically what these are here to show you is if you have electronic bonds, you can log in and check and see how much interest you've accrued. If you have a paper bond, you can't do that. So this tool is basically for you to go, okay, I have this bond. And the nice thing is you can do it with either, right? With the I bonds, you guys, you can, other than the fact that you have to wait 1 year, that you can't do anything with your money, it's a great way. Once it's attached to your bank, they can transfer it to your bank within a couple of days. As I said, I use mine as a second tier of my emergency fund. I have my emergency fund. I keep amount of cash in my checking account, so if something goes wrong, I can handle it. But I also keep about 6 months total worth of living expenses. And this is a part of that. So this would be not the emergency that I need to fix today, but if I knew that I was going to be off work, for example, for a few weeks or a month, then I could get into those and access that money in a timely manner. I think it's a great time right now because the inflation is up. Granted, it's the fixed rate 0, but if you can get 7% annualized, and who knows if it's going to stay that high, because as I said, it resets every 6 months. But there's nothing else out there that is a guaranteed interest-bearing account that is basically risk-free that's paying anything near that. I know my online savings account pays 0.5%, which is better than nothing. I think my checking account pays 0.001%, which is a joke as far as interest goes. But anyway, this is something to think about, and I don't know that everybody out there knows about it. It's certainly not right for everybody, but it might be something that you can add to your portfolio as some safe money, or like I say, as a backup to your emergency fund. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor, drop me that like. It really helps the algorithm. If you're new to the channel and you're not already subscribed, hit the red button, ring the bell. All right, we'll see you. Thanks.